Good afternoon, YouTube. It is I, Danielle, better known as Danielle, Happy Medium, and welcome back to our channel, everybody. I hope you are very well on this Sunday afternoon. But today I'm going to talk to you on a video tutorial about dried up. What really will we do when obviously these things happen? And this comes off the back of a question that I received from a girl out in the United States of America. So thank you very much for that. So for me personally, when we talk about this particular topic, what we're talking about is it feels like there was something there and then eventually there's nothing there. And what tends to happen is when we do communications or when we do links from the loved ones in the spirit world, we have to first use the intelligence. So the intelligence is that they know what it is that they need to talk about in order to get their communication over. We always have to work with that intelligence. It's really important. But what we tend to do is mediums, we get caught what we call caught up in the story. Now, for many of us, so let me give you an example. So I'm Danielle. I'm better known as Danielle Happy Medium, but I'm also Danielle, the mom, Danielle, the friend, Danielle, the mother, Danielle, whatever. And what you've just seen there is Danielle has 5 different stories. And what tends to happen is when we're doing communications, we tend to stick with the one story. Or we may also, with the story, use the structure. So, age, date, name, etc., 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 etc. And what tends to happen is most of us, when we're doing the story, will stay with one particular subject, topic, matter. So it may be that we just talk about the age and we talk about this and we talk about that, rounding about the age. What tends to happen is this will start to dry up because ultimately there's only so much that you can talk about in that particular scenario. So what tends to happen is we need another story. And what we need to do is continually work with different subjects in which that the communicator gives us. And through that, what we tend to find is as we're doing our communications, is one starts to dry up, a new piece of information will be presented to us. And what we have to do is pick that up and start working with that. Now, what tends to happen is because we're using the intelligence, always use the intelligence, every story is interlinked. And what tends to happen is we're very good, the spirit world's very good at being able to keep all of this together. So even if we sort of go a little bit off a tangent and we talk about the age, then we may talk about the children of the ages and so it all sort of fits together quite nicely within the sort of story in which the communicator is bringing to us. Another problem where it may dry up is that we've gone to the structure. Now, lots of mediums will start this way, and I was one of them mediums. I stick my hands quite. I'm happy to say that I've got no problems in saying them types of things to the lovely folks here watching the channel. I'm no different to any of you when I first started out because I didn't know any different. I didn't know that you had to be doing this, and as my mediumship has progressed, I do a lot more of this now. And so I was one who did this structure in the names, and I needed this and I needed that in order to prove my mediumship, in order to prove survival. Actually, when I started allowing more and started and allowed the spirit world to do as they pleased, I found that my mediumship moved forward a lot quicker. And because of that, there's very little sort of structure. There's always a structure of where my mediumship will start because that's my base point. And as a medium, every medium will need that particular base point in order to be able to start their communications. One, because the mind, when we first start doing demonstration work or sitting work, will get a little nervous or we're still a little fearful. And, when there's all these crowds and we're trying to get the energy of the room pulled together with the mind of the spirit world and me as the medium. So I always have a base point where I start when I first ever do my first communication. And as my mind relaxes more, the spirit world get more and more freedom of it, if that makes sense. So when you're starting here, everybody will do this bit of structure or have some structure within their mediumship. As we progress further forward, that structure starts to be taken out. And I say this all the time, and not everybody's going to agree with that. And I'm okay with this. I know some people don't agree with what I say, and I'm happy with where I sit within parameters of my mediumship. It is nothing wrong with starting here. Nothing. And you know, a lot of people may go, "Ooh, how dare you," you know, and you've got to remember the mind's going to need some sort of base point. It's got to have something to start with, to stop the fear, you know, to stop you getting in the way, you know, etc., etc., etc. And mediumship's a journey from one point to another point, to another point, to another point. And we may have to backtrack at times, and then we will progress forward, whatever it may be there. And we shouldn't get too caught up on, you know, what's right, what's wrong. What you need to be caught up in is what's right for you. And when you learn to allow what's right for you and allow yourself to move as and when the time is right, then that's great and happy and dandy. But with connections to dried up, let me just wiggle that under there. Remember that within one communication which you do for a sitter, or whether it be with the connections to a demonstration of mediumship, there will always be 3 or 4 multifaceted stories all intertwined within the one thing that the communicator wants to talk about. If it feels like it's drying up, or it feels like it's not quite, there's nothing there anymore, or it feels like it's dulling. It feels like at first there was loads and loads of information and and then all of a sudden it just feels like, oh, I'm pulling teeth. It's probably because it's time to move on. It's time to find another story. It's time to listen again to the spirit world and work with that. If you're using the structured method, okay, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand why you do it, and that's okay too. And what you want to be doing with the structure is making sure you're still giving some freedom of the mind, or allowing a bit more of the mind. And this will come, given time. It will. You're not meant to get all of this all at once. You're not. Because if you did, then, you know, if you do it all at once straight away, good on you. You know, my hat's off to you. You know, I'm very impressed by that. But for a lot of mediums, and I know, including myself, that was once down that road, this is going to come over time. So when people talk to me about information's drying up when they're doing communications, or in respect of the presentation of work in which they do in respect of church rostrums or church work, this could be a couple of the reasons. Another sneaky one, just a link in there from the spirit world: careful you're not working psychically. Because if you're working psychically, it is going to dry up. If you haven't moved your mind enough, then ultimately that you have to take that into consideration as well. But if you've moved your mind, you put the intention in before you started, and you know, X, Y, and Z, then there shouldn't be a problem. But you've always got to check in with that one there also, that, you know, if you had a couple of no's, or you're a little fearful, or, you know, you're not quite sure, you may have jumped back over onto that psychic link. So I have to mention that one there as well. But in essence, to the lady who talked to me about information was drying up when she was doing communications, I hope this gives you a little bit more understanding. In one little final tip that the spirit world's just dropped into my mind there: listen. Always listen to the spirit world. Many of us as mediums get into the spirit world, start shouting and bawling, and can I have this, can I have that, I want this, I want that. Learn to listen to the spirit world. By listening to them, you will get a lot further forward than barking orders at them, because they're not there to be you know, they're not meant to be barked at, the spirit world. And a lot of people probably won't agree with this statement, but I'll give it an all. When we become servers for the spirit world, it's exactly what it is. You are a server. You are the instrument. You are half of the time not in control. The spirit world is in control. And I think we need as mediums to remember that the spirit world here, as many mechanics as you want to put in and as much stuff as you want to do, ultimately we serve the spirit world. And ultimately sometimes we have to stand still, or we have to learn to listen to them in order to progress forward, or to progress your stories forward in using the intelligence. After all, these people are highly evolved that we work for. They are highly spiritual and highly know better than we will ever know as a human individual. So in this particular video, I've talked about dried up, and for the lovely lady in the States, I hope this answers your question. And for those who are watching, maybe like, share and subscribe with your friends. And I'll see you all on Tuesday. I'm off to Canada to do service. I will see you all next week. Have a great day no matter what you do. Lots and lots of love from me and the spirit world. Big kisses. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.